Most brands doing 100K a month on TikTok Shop are losing money on the platform. Now, before you click off thinking this doesn't apply to you, hear me out. Because the brands that understand this truth and operate accordingly are the ones that win. The ones that don't understand it are the ones that scale up, panic at the P&L, and pull the plug right before it would have paid off. Most people think TikTok Shop is a sales channel. You list your product, the creators post about it, the revenue hits your bank. Simple math. But here's what's actually happening behind the numbers of every high-performing brand on this platform. TikTok Shop is not a profit center. It's a customer acquisition engine. And once you understand that, the entire way you measure it changes. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the real math. We're going to break down exactly what your P&L looks like at $100,000 a month in GMV. Every cost, every fee, every line item most brands either don't track or they don't want to see. Then I'm going to show you exactly what you need to change for the numbers to work, and why for most brands at scale, profitability on TikTok Shop isn't even the right goal. My name is Rajil and I run Wurx Media. We've scaled over 50 brands to 6 and 7 figures on TikTok Shop and driven over $100 million in GMV. TikTok Shop is what we do all day long. Let's get into it. Before we run the numbers, I want to make sure that we're working off from the same equation. When most brand owners think about TikTok Shop profit, they think revenue minus cost of goods. That's not the equation. Here's the real equation. You start with the GMV, that's your gross merchandise value, the total sales generated on the platform. From that, you subtract your cost of goods, what it actually costs you to source or make that unit. Then you subtract shipping. Then you subtract your ad spend on GMV Max. Then you subtract what you paid to produce content, cost of creators, samples you sent out, basically the cost of getting that content in the first place. Then you subtract TikTok's platform fee, which at this moment is around 6%. And then you subtract your agency or operations costs. What's left after all of that is your actual profit or loss on the channel. And for most brands, what's left is a negative number. The question isn't whether you're losing money, it's by how much, and whether that loss is justified by what's happening everywhere else in your business. We'll get to that. But first, let's talk about that one internal factor that determines how bad or how manageable that number actually is. The single biggest internal lever on TikTok Shop profitability is your product margin. Here's the baseline that I use when I'm looking at a brand. If your gross margin is above 70%, meaning after COGS and shipping, you're keeping 70 cents of every dollar you've earned, you have a real shot at generating a profit or breaking even. That's because there's enough room to absorb the platform costs. Now, if your margin is below 50%, you're almost guaranteed to operate at a loss. The math just doesn't work. The fees, the ad cost, the content spend, it eats through thin margins before you even get to see a return. Now, you're probably thinking that if that's the case, then I should just pick my highest margin product and push that on TikTok. Well, not quite. The product with the best margin is not always the best TikTok Shop product. The platform rewards products that are visual, demonstratable, and impulse friendly. A supplement in a plain bottle with great margins might not move. A skincare product with slightly lower margins but a before and after story might absolutely take off. So the real question when you're choosing what product to sell on TikTok Shop is this: what's the intersection of strong enough margins to survive the costs and strong enough content potential to drive the volume? Because volume is how you get leverage, and leverage is how you get to the numbers that I'm about to show you. Let's run the actual numbers now. I want to show you what a $100,000 GMV month looks like on a spreadsheet. Now, I'm going to use the industry average for everything. Not the best case, not the worst, but the average brand operating at this level is getting. Average selling price on TikTok Shop, $30. So $100,000 in GMV means you moved roughly 333 units. Let's talk about cost. First, there's the TikTok's platform fee, which is 6% of GMV. That's $6,000 straight off the top. Next, cost of goods sold. We're using a 25% COGS ratio, so $7.50 per unit. On 3,300 units, that's about $25,000 in COGS. Next, shipping. $5 per unit to get the product to the consumer. That's another $16,500. Now, the big one, ad spend. If you're running GMV Max, and you should be, the industry average return on ad spend is between 2 and 3. We're using 2 to be conservative. That means to generate $100,000 in GMV, you're spending $50,000 on ads. Then your content costs. At the very least, you're producing 100 to 150 videos from paid creators every month, averaging roughly $50 a video. That's $5,000 to $7,500 in total costs. We'll use $7,500. Then your samples. To fuel that content engine, at this point, you're sending around 750 samples every single month. That totals up to around $9,300 in sample costs. Then we have your creator commissions. Including the lower commissions from ad-driven sales, let's take the affiliate commissions as 10%. Assuming 80% of your revenue was through affiliates, that's another $8,000 paid out in commissions to the creators. And finally, there's your agency or operations cost. Someone's managing creator outreach, GMV Max, content coordination, and a lot more. That's $8,000 a month on the lower end. Okay, now let's add it all up. Whoa, that's a $30,000 loss on 100K in sales. And that is with a 75% gross margin product. This is a good margin product. If your margin margins are 50%, that loss number gets significantly worse. Now, here's a thought narration moment. You're sitting there thinking, Rajil, why would I do this? Why would I operate a business that's losing $30,000 a month? That's exactly the right question. And the answer is the whole point of this video. Before I answer that question, let me show you what actually has to be true in order for you to break even or get close to it on TikTok Shop. Because it is possible, it's just not the default. Three things move the needle the most. First, your return on ad spend needs to go up. The industry average is 2. The brands breaking even are running at a 3, 3.5, maybe even a 4. That doesn't happen on day 1. It happens when your content library is large enough that your best performing videos are carrying the ad account. That takes a lot of volume and time. Second, your content costs go down as a percentage of revenue. At $100,000 a month, you're spending $7,500 on paid creators, getting 1 to 2 videos per sample sent. But at $500,000 a month, you might be spending the same or only slightly more because organic affiliate volume is now doing most of the heavy lifting. The fixed cost of building the content engine gets leveraged over more GMV. At $30,000 a month in GMV, you're spending $5,000 on paid creators and sending 500 samples. Creators are producing 1 to 2 videos each on average. So you're getting maybe 600 to 700 videos in total. That's about $17 a video. At $100K a month, paid creator spend might go up to $7,500. Your samples may increase to $750. But now creators are producing 4 to 5 videos each because the momentum is building, your brand is being seen everywhere, and affiliates are competing for attention. Now you're paying $5 a video, and it keeps compressing from there. The content engine doesn't get more expensive as you scale. It gets cheaper per unit while producing more volume. That's the math most brands never see coming. Third, your sampling efficiency improves. Early on, you're sending a lot of your samples to lower quality affiliates. As your affiliate program matures, you're now seeding to proven performers, creators who have a track record of converting. So your cost per video drops, but your return per sample goes up. But here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Even with all of these improving, even with great margins, strong return on ad spend, and an efficient affiliate system, most brands at scale will still not be meaningfully profitable on TikTok Shop. And that's fine because that's not what the platform is for. The brands that are winning on TikTok Shop, the ones doing 7 figures a month or more, they're not measuring success by the profit they generate on TikTok. They're measuring by the total business impact. Here's what I mean. When a brand runs 500 quality pieces of content on TikTok Shop, something happens. People see that product, they search for it on Amazon, they go to your website, they see a meta ad later that week and convert because they already trust the brand now. That's what we call the halo effect. We've seen brands come into our ecosystem and within 90 days, their Amazon ranking moves up, their Shopify revenue goes up, and their meta CPMs go down because they're showing the product to people who have already seen the product organically on TikTok. None of that shows up in your TikTok P&L. If you're only measuring the channel by the direct revenue and profit generated on the platform, you're only seeing half the picture. So here's the real operating philosophy for brands who want to do it right. Goal number 1, minimize the loss on TikTok Shop. Improve your return on ad spend, build your affiliate engine, tighten your sampling process. Get as close to break even as the math allows. Goal number 2, the halo. Set up proper attribution. Track new to brand customers on Amazon month on month. Measure Shopify revenue during and after TikTok campaigns. Track your meta CPMs and conversion rates against proven TikTok creatives and periods when your TikTok content is active versus when it's not. When you look at the total P&L across your whole business, not just the TikTok line, the math changes completely. A $30,000 loss that drives $100,000 in incremental revenue on Amazon and D2C is not a loss. It's the most efficient customer acquisition spend you have. That's the mindset shift and how the biggest brands on this platform are thinking. So let's bring this all together. The real math behind $100,000 GMV month on TikTok Shop with good margins, industry average ad costs, and proper creator investment lands at a net loss of around $30,000. Your margin is the biggest internal lever. Below 50%, the math almost never works out. Above 70, you have a fighting chance at breaking. The path to narrowing that loss is better return on ad spend over time, more efficient sampling, and a content engine that compounds every month and doesn't start from zero. But most importantly, stop measuring TikTok Shop in isolation. The brands operating at the highest level are measuring the total business impact. TikTok GMV plus Amazon lift plus D2C revenue plus meta efficiency. Lose money on TikTok Shop profitably. That's the game. Now, if you're watching this and thinking, okay, I get it, but I don't know what my actual halo numbers are, how to calculate it, or how to build this creator engine that you're talking about. That's exactly what we do here at Wurx. We've built this system across 50 plus brands. We know what the numbers should look like at every stage, and we help brands set up that tracking so they can actually see the full return. We work with a small number of brands at a time. If you want to get on a call, the link is in the description. And if you're not ready for that yet, subscribe to benefit from the free value. I'm going to keep putting out the same level of knowledge every week. I'll see you in the next one.